people like a couple of seconds to log on, get the notifications,
Right.
all
Ooh,
of
let
that.
me fix this
Oh,
because
there we are.
D's in the background a little bit. But if you go like towards the wall that way, then you're good.
All
But
right. We are live. Hello, everybody. I'm going to give you guys a couple of more seconds to log on and then we'll get started. So, Dr. Abby, while we wait for everyone to kind of log in and tune in, how you liking the new weather with Savannah?
oh, let me tell you, it's my favorite time of the year when it's like, you can throw on a little sweater, perhaps. You might have to take it off by afternoon, but you feel good. Like, ooh, the weather's changing. I love it.
I know. I like it's like real crisp. It's nice. It's not too cold. It's not too hot. I love it.
Yes.
We have some more people that are coming in, guys. Like I said, I can't necessarily tell who's on here. I just know that there are people on. So if you want to let me know who you are, where you're watching from, just put it in the chat. I had a couple other people that said hi. So hello. I'm excited that you guys are here because I know that you're going to get some great, great, great information. So if you want to say hello, just come on in here. Let me know how the weather is on your end. If you're enjoying it, what's going on? Because I know some people, it's crazy because even in Savannah, you could be in the north part or the south part in Savannah. It's not that big, but the weather
Right.
still could be different, especially when it comes to rain.
That's
You
true.
know, it's like, oh, it's raining over here. That's like, it's bright sunshine. And I
Right.
was like,
Right.
what? So, yeah, hey, D, I see you, dear. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hi, Miss Inette. All right, ladies, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and get started. Oh, hi, Miss Ida Sonia. Thank you so much. I see. She said it's a little too cold for her today.
Oh.
But she and her husband are both watching. Hi, Miss Roselle. She says chilly on the island. So I bet.
That's how you know you're from Savannah.
I know. Right. But listen, now Keon from Minot, North Dakota, I know he has us beat. I know North Dakota has Savannah beat right now. They probably
Has to.
I know you guys have us beat. Listen, my daughter asked this morning how was the weather in Minot. So she said, "Are they getting snow? Because we never get snow here really in Savannah." She was like, "Are they getting snow?" And I said, "I don't know. They probably are." So I know that Minot has us beat. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and get started because I don't want to hold you guys too long today. But this is Lessons Beyond the Stethoscope. And here we provide you the tips and the tools that you can use to enjoy in your everyday life. Because what we understand is that when you are dealing with life, those things can then start to affect your health. And our overall goal is to keep you well and to keep you healthy. This is episode 4. I'm tired and I'm over it. What is the source of your fatigue? Today, we have joining us someone who is not only very good at medicine, but she's just a good person. And you guys know me, I like to just say good peoples. I always have good peoples here. So she is good peoples, and you guys are going to know that you are in good hands. And the way that I realized that she was good peoples was because I met her through her notes, right? So as a primary care doctor, we get notes from specialists. And from those notes, sometimes you can tell a person's personality, how they treat a patient, that sort of thing. And her notes always came across so nice. She was very genuine. She had nice things to say about her patients. They were very thorough. So I kind of knew what the plan was, what the next step was. I was like, man, I want to meet her one day. I already had in my mind, I'm going to meet her, right?
Right.
But then we meet and I was like, it's the same. It's really nice to see something and then your expectations are a certain way. And then you meet the person like, oh, it is still the same. So I was like, this is so nice. She is nice. She is kind. She's genuine. She's very knowledgeable. So I want you guys to welcome none other than Dr. Abby Abisogun.
Thank you, Dr. Booth.
You're welcome. Before we get into it, I want to just give you guys a little bit of background on Dr. Abby. So she was born in Liberia, West Africa. She immigrated to the US with her family at a young age, and she grew up outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota. She attended Loyola University in Baltimore, Maryland, where she received her undergraduate degree. And she followed that by a postbac in research at the National Institute of Health. She then attended medical school at Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson Medical School and did residency at Brown University, and followed that up by endocrinology fellowship at Duke University. And I think it's really important that I mention that she has endocrine certification in neck ultrasound, because she uses that to manage thyroid nodules and thyroid cancers. And she does these procedures in her office, Shoreline Endocrinology, where she is the owner. Now, Shoreline Endocrinology is a phenomenal practice. It's innovative. It's a direct specialty care practice here in Savannah, Georgia. So as you guys can see, she's very accomplished. She's well trained. So you guys know I always bring you nothing less than the best and someone who is very top notch. And outside of medicine, what she likes to do is to read, cook, travel, but also the beach. And that's where we get Shoreline Endocrinology. She loves to spend her time at the beach with her husband and her two beautiful daughters. So you guys, welcome again, Dr. Abby. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Booth. That was such a lovely introduction.
You're welcome. You know I mean it, because I love you.
I know.
So,
You're one of the most genuine people I've had the pleasure of knowing. So all of that, means a lot. Thank you.
You're welcome. So we were sitting and chit-chatting about some of the different things that we both come across with our patients. And one of the biggest one is fatigue. And people say, I'm tired. And I've had some people to say, I'm sick and tired of being tired. And then when the people get sick and tired of being tired, then they start trying to Google things and figure out, why am I tired, right? And then they come to us and they say, my hormones. Can you check my hormones? And Dr. Abby is a hormone expert. That's what endocrinology is. That's what she does. So when you come to her or myself and say, can you check my hormones? We're both thinking, okay, that's a loaded question. Right. Because there are a lot of different hormones that are out there. And if we check them and something comes back abnormal, that doesn't necessarily mean that's still the problem of causing your fatigue. So we started talking, and I said, I think it would be good if we talked about this, because a lot of people are experiencing the fatigue. A lot of people are really tired, but people don't understand that it is a really complex and complicated issue. Right. But our goal for you guys today is to truly try to simplify it for you. And what I think one of the easiest ways to do it is to just kind of break it down into parts. So one, what are some different causes of fatigue? Why are you tired? Then after that, once we figure that out, what are some different ways that we can test for it? So we start to narrow down those different causes. Then how do we start to test for it and really get an answer to that? Once we get that answer, then the third thing is, what are some of those treatments or interventions that we can use to make us feel better? So Dr. Abby, can you talk to us about some of the different causes of fatigue?
Of course. So this is one of the most common chief complaints that I see in my office as an endocrinologist. Sometimes it's been an ongoing thing for years, and sometimes it's new. And sometimes it's, well, no one can tell me what's going on with me, so I'm here. So it's a very common complaint. And the tough thing is that because so many conditions can cause fatigue, it can manifest in this way, it really can take some time to figure out what's going on. So time is the big thing, the factor of time, to really sort of investigate what is going on. So whenever I see someone in my office who tells me they're experiencing fatigue, and that's like the number one symptom, the number one issue that they're seeing me for, I think about a very broad differential because I'm an endocrinologist, but first I'm an internist. So as an internal medicine physician, my training involved looking at, all the different, reasons across systems that a symptom could manifest. And then, as Dr. Booth said, going through systematically your testing to narrow down the causes. So, first thing I usually talk to people about is sleep because we underestimate the importance of getting good quality sleep. And in our society, it's go, go, go. You have to be productive. So, a lot of times, like, sleep is on the bottom of the list of our to-do list because we're trying to get all these things done and there are only 24 hours in a day. So I find when people present with fatigue that the majority of them are not sleeping enough. I'm guilty on some nights. Like I just, I have a lot of things to do, so I get it. But if you're not getting a good 7-8 hours of good quality sleep, that's a problem. And sometimes people are getting the sleep, but are you actually getting good quality sleep is the next question. Do you have, issues with like waking up multiple times a night because you have to go to the bathroom, or you grind your teeth, or you move your limbs all night? There are various sleep disorders that can result in disrupted sleep, and therefore people wake up not rested. And sometimes they're aware and sometimes they're not aware that it's a problem. So we talk about sleep a lot. Next thing is, we talk about activity. Are you active or are you sedentary? Meaning, you may go to work. Are you at a desk all day? Don't really move around much. Then you go home, you make dinner, eat with your family, and then go to bed, start again the next day. Really not getting any dedicated exercise time. And what's recommended is at least 150 minutes per week of good cardiovascular exercise. So if you're not getting that in itself can be part of why you're feeling kind of sluggish. Next thing I talk to people about is their diet, nutritional status. Sometimes there are nutritional deficiencies, whether it's, iron deficiency, which can lead to anemia, or B12 deficiency, or vitamin D, all these different things. And, if you don't have a healthy, well-balanced diet, that can easily happen, and that can certainly affect your energy levels. Chronic diseases. So, as people get older, we're living longer nowadays than we did in the past, and we develop various chronic diseases, whether it's heart failure or liver failure or kidney disease, kidney failure. And these conditions, just having them can manifest as fatigue, chronic fatigue. And whether, they're being adequately managed, whether they're optimally managed, that plays a role as well. So I'm asking those questions, looking at the medical history and making sure that we have the right team in place. Do you need to go see a heart specialist or a kidney specialist? Or are you seeing one, but maybe you're not following up regularly, and your medicines that they're giving you maybe are not optimized, or whatever the case might be? Or are there certain interventions that they might need to do that haven't been done yet, So that's the next thing. So I go through all those things before I go to the hormones. Just because people come and I can tell some of them are looking at me like, but I came here to talk about the hormones. You know what I mean? But like, listen, a lot of times it's not the hormones. It's real easy to blame the hormones, but let's talk about all the other things that are way more likely. But that brings me to the hormones. So for sure, there are, several hormonal imbalances that can manifest as fatigue. So, I'll go through them. One, I'm going to check for your thyroid function status. Like, do you have underactive or overactive thyroid disease? And fatigue is one of the most common symptoms of either of those conditions. We will, screen for any blood sugar elevation or insulin resistance, diabetes, because if you are running around living your life and you don't know you have diabetes, you could
Mhm.
certainly be very tired all the time. That's a common complaint with people who first present with diabetes. Then we look at other things like your cortisol level. Do you have deficiency of cortisol, which is your stress hormone? It comes from your adrenal glands. And though it's not terribly common, that condition is present, it's out there, and sometimes people just haven't been screened for it and
Mhm.
therefore are just persistently just feeling weak, tired, for no clear reason. So I also will screen for that. Vitamin D deficiency can manifest as fatigue, and we call vitamin D a vitamin, but it's a hormone. So
Mm.
that's part of my list of hormones that I'm checking for as well. Um, for men, testosterone
Mm.
is very important. If a man has low testosterone and doesn't recognize it and is not tested for it, that could be why he's tired all the time. And so that's one of the things I check for. For women, um, around the time of menopause, there can be a change in
Mm.
energy levels too. That's when your estrogen, progesterone levels are declining. So some women will have a dramatic change in their energy level too, and so that could be the other thing. So that's just those are the main hormones that I will be looking at. To determine whether there's an imbalance that we can then address to make the fatigue better. So those are some of the main things that I'm trying to figure out by my questioning, or talking to my patient. I will ask them questions to kind of cross things off the list or keep certain things on the list, and then based on that, I will make a recommendation as to what kind of tests we need to do.
Okay, so I'm glad that you went to that because I was thinking about testing and stuff as well. But going back to some of those causes, what I was thinking about, you talked about being sedentary, not being able to get the sleep. To me, that also I start to think about obesity. And with sleep, that's another thing. So, like obstructive
Yeah.
sleep apnea,
Yep.
those sorts of things. So, once you have looked at all of that, you've taken a great history, you've spent the time with the patient, try to narrow down where they
Right.
are. Then we're moving to testing. So, what
Right.
does that look like for some of those different things that you talked about?
Right. So, most of the testing I'll do will be blood tests. Every now and then we may need to do imaging depending on where those blood tests lead
Mm.
us. Uh, but we're starting off with blood levels of cortisol, your A1C, which is the screening test for diabetes. Looking at your liver panel, looking at your kidney
Mm.
panel, is everything there looking okay? Looking at a complete blood count, is there any anemia or other blood cells that are low that we might need to look into? Checking vitamin D, checking
Mhm.
testosterone, checking estrogen levels, things like that. We can look at all that thyroid function. So majority of these things can be done via blood tests. I send people for sleep studies often. I
Mm.
refer people to go have sleep studies because sleep disorders are fairly prevalent and
Mhm.
are underdiagnosed. And they're underdiagnosed because we're not asking the questions and we're not referring people to get the studies done, so we don't
Right.
diagnose the conditions. But they're prevalent, and sometimes people can have more than one sleep disorder. So Dr.
Mm.
Booth mentioned sleep apnea. You can also have something like bruxism. That's when you grind your teeth,
Mm.
when you're asleep. That's disruptive as well to sleep. Or restless leg syndrome.
Mhm.
That's another one people can have. Narcolepsy. So there are so many sleep disorders that if you're not looking, you won't find, and they're treatable. There are therapies out there and interventions out there that can correct the issue, at least to some degree, so that there's better quality sleep. I also will refer people I mentioned earlier to other specialists because,
Mhm.
a team-based approach often is
Yes.
better than just relying on one person, right? Because
Mhm.
we all have our areas of expertise, and sometimes we have to get two or three people together to really figure out an issue because sometimes the issue is multifactorial. There are several different causes. It might not just be one thing. So the fatigue might be, because of diabetes, but what if other things are going on as well? I'll give an example. I referred a woman who is postmenopausal. She's gone through menopause in her 50s. I referred her to a cardiologist because she was experiencing this persistent fatigue. We checked all the different hormones we could
Mm.
check. We checked all the usual labs I mentioned. Everything was normal. Everything was always normal.
Hmm.
And so I said, you know what? You are at the age where number one killer is heart disease.
Mm.
Okay. And sometimes for women, heart disease does not manifest in the typical way. Where you're feeling chest pain and it's numbness going down your arm and shortness of breath and things like that. So I've had quite a few women over the years who, when they presented to me, they were not experiencing those kind of symptoms.
Mm.
Literally, all they could tell me was, I'm just tired all the time. I am exhausted. So, this is a woman I just saw a couple months ago. We did all the usual tests. She came back to see me. She actually was on thyroid hormone. So I adjusted her thyroid regimen, put her on something new, said, okay, let's see if this brand is better. We did all these things and she was not doing better.
Mm.
Her adrenal glands were perfectly functional. So when I sent her to the cardiologist, they did a stress test. The stress test was abnormal. They sent her to do a cardiac catheterization. She had major blockages in her heart. So she ended up having to have an intervention. They had to put in a stent in the major artery called the Widowmaker. It'll take you
Mhm.
out. And that was done. And now I'm like, I'm so excited to see her come back to hear about what her day to day is like now because I know she's going to be feeling better.
Right.
And so, that's been, excuse me, my phone is going. That's been that's been one of the causes that
Mm.
sometimes will pop up is like, heart issues. Sometimes it's lung disease that's not been recognized.
Mm.
So considering all of those things and doing the appropriate testing is really important. I'm someone who, yeah, I'm a specialist, but uh, I do not subscribe to the, oh, I can do it all.
Mm.
I'm I can take care of all of it. I don't need to send you to somebody else. Like, oh no, I am all knowing. No, I know there are certain things that there's someone else who's
Right.
trained in that way who can better address for you. But the thing that I love about being an internist is even if I don't know that thing in depth, I know enough to suspect that it's happening,
Mm.
and then I can direct you in the right way to get it further evaluated and then treat it, So
Right.
that's really important because if you don't ever find something going on, you can never address it.
Got you. That's a really important connection that you made about how you look for all the things, but then if they are still not getting better, they're still having the issues, like you said, I don't know all the things, but I know where to send you so that you can get
Yes.
the interventions and the treatment
Yep.
that you need. But going back to the things that you can treat, like some of the hormone disorders, things like that, how does that look? How do those treatments look? Is it a pill? Is it an injection? What does that treatment look like?
Right. And that's a great question. It can look different depending on what the issue is that we're addressing. Sometimes it's not necessarily a medication. Sometimes it's just lifestyle changes. Sometimes it's me meeting with my patient and counseling them on these are some things that you could change in your day to day that could actually significantly improve your energy level. For instance, I talk to people about sleep hygiene a lot. You know, if you are someone who you have to go to bed with the TV on, you may think you're getting good enough sleep, but that's disruptive. You know, that and you don't even have to. It's not a conscious thing, but your mind is not going to shut down in the way that it should to allow you to get good restful sleep if you've got noise in the background. And you might have a harder time falling asleep, you know, because you're still getting that stimulation from whatever is on the screen, even if you're not looking at it. So sleep hygiene, making sure you don't have these distractions in the bedroom because the bed is really just for sleeping and some other things, but you know what I mean. So, so that's one, talking about that, talking about, you know, what is the routine at night? What is the bedtime routine? Because a lot of us don't have a routine. Like it could look totally different depending on the day, right? And but it's important to establish some sort of routine so that you know, like your body, your brain has the cues that it's time for us to simmer down, you know, like it's time to relax, let's turn off, like we're not thinking anymore about all the things that we haven't accomplished today, the things that we got to accomplish tomorrow, you know. Help your brain start sort of tuning down, whether that's, some people like to have a little tea or you know, have a nice warm bath, aromatherapy, whatever the case might be, whatever can help with relaxation. So that's a lifestyle change that can make a big difference in getting some rest. I also will talk to people about dietary changes that they can make. So, you know, cutting back on processed foods, sugars, things that may be inflammatory for your body that you may not even recognize. Fast foods, you know, we sometimes we're just making it do, like we grab and go because we're a go society, but sometimes the food we're eating is literally making us slow down and sometimes feel sick, but certainly can be pretty sluggish. So I'm talking to people about what, you know, fresh fruits, vegetables, what are some things you could introduce that could really help you feel better, get you better nutrition, you know, and things like that. Then if it's something that is like, you know, requiring treatment, let's say there's a hormonal imbalance, if let's say you have diabetes and your sugars are super high and it's time to take, you know, some insulin is a hormone that, you know, is injectable, you know, I'll prescribe that, and sometimes I'm combining that with other medicines. If it's an issue of thyroid dysfunction, you may need to take thyroid hormone. Or if the thyroid is overactive, I may need to give you medicine that blocks the activity in the thyroid to let your levels go down to normal. And then we're doing follow-up testing to monitor those changes and ensure you're in a good place, you know, in that way. Um, so, you know, it depends on what we identify as the main issue. But I will say lifestyle changes are always important to have as part of the plan because often, you know, they make a pretty significant difference, and people are always surprised at how much of a difference they can make. Um, Exercise, for sure, people are always surprised at how big of a difference exercise can make in how they feel day to day, because I think a lot of us think we have to, you know, do like so much that the little bit we might have time to do is not really going to make a difference. You know what I mean? Like, oh no, I'm going to get to the gym. I'm working up to it. You know, because you think you have to go and put an hour in or whatever. No, like start where you are. Like just go walk around the block, you know, or if you're at work, if you have a 15-minute lunch break or 20 or whatever, go up and down a few flights of stairs if you can. But just starting somewhere and then gradually increasing the time spent doing that dedicated exercise can really make a difference in your energy levels, and it can help people sleep better too. That's been proven from research. So I'm talking to people about exercise all the time. That's always a part of the
Mm.
conversation. And then, you know, the other conditions we talked about, chronic conditions like kidney disease and heart disease and stuff, making sure that we're optimally managed with those conditions. I sometimes, because, you know, I don't try to hurt people's feelings or step on any toes, but if I feel like my patient is going to another doctor who's
Mm.
not really doing what's best for them based on what is available, I'm gonna tell you, like, you might want to seek another opinion, and I'm happy to refer you, because it's not personal, it's, are you getting what you need?
Mhm.
Because if you're not getting what you need to go elsewhere where you can get it. So if you're seeing someone who's supposed to be managing so and so, and you can't get in there because they're so busy, or when you go, you don't see the doctor, you see the nurse practitioner, you know, and it's in and out, um, and maybe there are things that aren't being, you know, addressed, then it may be time for us to go somewhere else, or have a conversation about like the frequency of the visits or something, so we can optimize that issue, because that's impacting, you know, the rest of your life. So so that is always a part of the plan as well. Are we getting what we need from
Mhm.
our other, you know, uh, sort of providers on our team of healthcare providers? So um, that's, you know, that's pretty much it. I
You
mean,
said that's
there's
it.
always more,
But
but
there's always more, right? Exactly. So, because I'm appreciating these comments that are coming in, people saying that they are enjoying the talk. But as people can see, fatigue can be complicated. There are a lot of different causes for it. For each thing that we think it could be, there's a different test for it. And then from that test, there's a treatment for it. But don't count out the lifestyle changes, like she said. So there are so many things. And with this, we also, one of the big things we keep talking about is time. And with that time is one, for us, it is recognizing that it takes us time to be able to figure this out.
mm-hmm.
It's going to take a couple of visits for us
Yes,
to be able to figure it out. We have to be able to have more time to be able to talk to you, to figure out kind of what is going on. And then for you, that means you have to be patient with this process of trying to figure
yes,
out what's going on, right? One of the things that I like about the both of us is that we decided to be able to have more time with our patients.
all right,
We kind of stepped outside of that traditional model where there's maybe, like you said, the 15 minutes and we have to kind of figure it out very quickly and then say, okay, that's not it. Okay, come back in 3 months and then we can talk about it again, right? Versus now we have created a space where we can do that and spend more time with our patients. And so you open Shoreline Endocrinology, which is innovative in the fact that it is a direct specialty care practice. And I want for you to just tell people about that importance, like how you're able to have more time with your patients, what that means, how that benefits them, and even why did you decide to do that? And why did you feel it was important to start something different?
yeah. Um, So it's been quite a journey, because if you asked me 2-3 years ago, would I have made a move like this, I would have probably laughed, because I was never the doctor who wanted to own their own practice. No, I wanted someone else to run the
Mhm.
business side of things, so I could just focus on the thing I like, talking to my patients, you know,
Right.
doing doing the fun stuff, which is the getting to know people and being a part of their lives and stuff like that, and helping them get better. That was why I went into medicine. I didn't go into medicine because I was an entrepreneurial person and I
Mhm.
wanted to do that. But then reality hits, right? Our system is what it is. It's not perfect.
It's
And
broken.
it's very broken in many ways. And in, you know, in an effort to try to manage um, the system as it is, navigate it as it is, and still deliver what I feel is high level care to my patients, it was just like the constant like hitting the wall, because you want to spend that time, you want to explain, you want to counsel, you want to be available, but the system does not allow for that kind of time, because the reality is that, you know, this is not the world that I maybe thought it was as a medical student, where I don't have to worry about the business side of things. I just want to focus on my patient. Yeah, that would be nice, but everything costs money. Everything costs money, your staff, the building, the utilities, everything. And if you cannot see enough patients to generate enough revenue to keep the clinic going, then you can't treat your patients, can't be there for your patients. So the system is set up where, you know, there are so many costs that you can't afford to spend but so much time with that one patient in the conventional model. And that just wasn't sitting well with me at some point. I did it for 5 years. I pushed myself, and I said, you know what? I can't keep doing it this way. It's taking the joy out of it for me. It's making it, you know, way less enjoyable. And if I cannot continue to have that energy, that passion that I came into this with, because I'm getting worn down, then my patients are not going to get the best that I have to offer. And I feel they deserve the best that I have to offer. So I have to do this differently. And it's a scary thing. It's scary to, like, you know, kind of jump out of that familiar conventional way of doing things. And you hear people like, oh, how's that gonna go, how's that gonna work, you know? You know, Dr. Booth.
Oh, I know.
We've been talking about this, but but when you realize the way it's going right now, that's not it. It's not where it is. It's not where it's at. It's like, this is not, this is not good. It's not good for my patients. It's not good for me. I don't know who this is good for.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's not good for us.
It's
So,
not good for us. And that's what I was telling people too. It's like, you want a happy doctor, because a happy doctor has happy patients, honestly, because I've had some patients that said, I feel dismissed when I go places and things of that nature. I feel like I felt rushed. And I said, listen, they probably don't want to do that. That's probably not their overall personality and stuff like that. But like you said, that system can start sucking joy from you and start sucking what you really want to do and provide for your patients.
Right. And so, you know, it's just, you either deal and do the best you can. And, you know, you may have patients who are not happy with the time that they have with you, or how often they get to see you. Or, you know, direct care is another option that some physicians are taking these days, where it's like, okay, I'm going to shrink down the panel of patients that I am caring for at any one time, so that I'm more available to them. And, you know, and I can tell them exactly what it costs for me to give them that time and give them that one-on-one care, you know, that, you know, where it's like, if I have something going on, I don't have to wait 2 months or, you know, weeks to see you. I can see you tomorrow or today, you know. And it's just cutting all that, all the sort of layers out, and bringing it back to doctor, patient. We sit, talk to each other. And there's not all the oh, I called 5 times, nobody answered the phone. I left 8 messages, I don't have my prescription, you know, and then the doctor's like, oh, I never got the message, nobody told me, you know what I mean? How many times, hadn't we heard that sort of scenario? And you, as a no physician wants to hear that. No physician wants their patient to come into the office and say, I feel totally dismissed. I was in trouble, and you all did not help me.
Right.
No one goes into medicine to dismiss patients. That's really never the intention. And It's just a symptom of a bigger problem with our health system. So, this is just my way of trying to, still be there for people and have an impact, help the people I can help, realizing that I can't help everybody. And some people may look at what I'm doing and say, that's crazy to me. I'm not doing that. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's okay. But I am fulfilled with, how I'm doing it now. I feel like, okay, I'm helping people, and I'm doing it in a way where they get to have their dignity. They get to have a choice, in the matter, and they get to be treated like they deserve to be treated, and coming to the doctor is not it's like, oh goodness, it's about to be 3 hours of my day.
Yes, that one is a big one because we keep talking about time. And that's the other thing is I keep telling my patients, I was like, listen, I want to respect your time. I've had patients come to me and they say, oh, I thought I was going to be here all day and this. And I was like, no, if I schedule you at a certain time, your time is your time. That's your appointment. I'm not double booking. I'm not doing any of those things because I want to see you and spend that time with you to figure out what's going on with you. But you're absolutely right. I've had a lot of people say, I don't like going to the doctor. Even before I started this practice, I don't like going to the doctor. And I said, wow, one of the biggest issues was time. I go there, I'm there all day, and then y'all only spend like 10 minutes with me, and then I'm on my way. So you're
waiting
right.
In that waiting room, getting to know all the people in the waiting room. Because you're in there for a while, right? So, like my patients love it that they can come into my office. There's like 2-3 chairs because we don't have usually more than one person at a time in here.
Right.
And it's quiet and calm. It's quiet and calm. There's no, you're getting, kind of moved around and herded like cattle, to go to that.
So once someone, one of my patients said, they said, where are the people at? Where is everybody? I was like, listen,
they weren't used to this. Wait a minute. Where's everybody? What happened to the waiting room? Listen, we don't need the waiting room. That's not a part of the doctor-patient relationship. It became that at some point, but that's not it. It's your time shouldn't be spent sitting in the waiting room, and then you have 10 minutes to, sometimes you can't remember all the things you even came to talk about in that time,
That is so true because I've had patients sit across from me. I was like, okay, so what's going on? I was like, it was something, and I can't. They
can't remember.
Can't remember because all of that time they were like, I was ready, but then I forgot.
I forgot because I was out there so long, right? So that's one of the really nice things about this model of practice is the time factor. I have more time to do my investigative work to figure out how I can help. My patient has more time to truly express what they're going through and ask questions so that they can understand why I'm recommending what I'm recommending. Because sometimes people, don't follow through on their end because they don't fully understand why they're being asked to do certain things. Take this medicine or go to this specialist. If there's not that time to have a discussion about why it's important and to allow for questions, they might not do it. Because, either I don't know the importance or I'm fearful of the potential effects and we didn't get to talk about that. And I'm on Google reading about it and I'm not doing it. You know what I mean?
I know because because they will get that packet from the pharmacy. They will open it up and it's this long.
Read all the things.
And they read and I get that phone call. But see, the good thing is they can call me up. Dr. Booth, I saw it has so-and-so on here. Okay, let's talk about this. I was like, oh, sure. Now, that's probably, it's a possibility,
Right.
But sometimes if you call another office, because I've had patients who've come to me from other offices, and I said, I see that you're supposed to be taking X, Y, and Z. Why are you not taking it?
Yeah.
Oh, I got the information. I saw that it said so and so. I'm not taking that. So then
Mm-hmm.
we sit down, we get a chance to fully talk about what all of those things mean, what happens, the true potential side effects they can have. Then they say, oh, okay. Okay, I
Yeah,
think I'll do it now. But
right.
it's just that moment of being able to take
Yes,
the time to discuss it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Time. Time,
Time.
my friend.
Well, listen, I absolutely have enjoyed you being here and taking the
This was
time to be
great.
with us. There were some other comments that came in. They said, thank you both for your direct care. They said that I love that you both respect our time. So I just want to make sure that you are aware of that
Absolutely.
information. But I want to respect your time today because I know that you have to get back to clinic and see patients. And I don't want them to say, hey, now I was supposed to
Like,
see you.
wait a minute. She's on there talking about time. I'm waiting here. Yes, Dr. Booth, I appreciate that. This was totally, I mean, just needed. I think it's needed. I think people, need to hear these things, and I think it's really important for people to just feel heard and to feel attended to again. It's kind of gotten lost
Yeah.
in our health system. So it's refreshing to be able to talk about this with you, and I'm so excited for you and what you've done.
Oh, thank you.
Opening this practice, and being even more available for your patients. You already were wonderful with your patients. They absolutely loved you. Even in your previous, model of practice. But now I know they get to enjoy you even more. So
Yeah.
I'm very, very happy to see it. I'm glad to be here to watch the milestones, because it was just the other day we're talking about, we're gonna do this.
Right. And now we're doing it.
We're doing it, and it's much needed, and people really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you again. Thank you so much. I'm going to let you get back to it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you really enjoyed this talk, felt like it answered some of your questions, feel free to share this with other people. You can definitely share the replay, things of that nature. The other thing is follow Dr. Abby on Shoreline
Yes.
Endocrinology because she has information up there, some health tips and things from time to time. So be sure to follow and like her page as well. You guys have a good rest of your day. I hope that you are well, and I will see you soon.
Thank you. Bye
You're
bye.
welcome.